Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Think Clinical Podcast. My name is Hamza. Always happy to have you here. It's amazing to have each and every one of you join us each week to look at some very important things that you need to know in healthcare leadership and healthcare entrepreneurship. Today we are going to be looking at adaptive leadership because healthcare is a very, very evolving industry, and you need to look at this especially in the form of how do you look at training people within your organization? How do you adapt to different situations? How do you lead your team? One of the leadership skills that I have been very fond of, which falls into being adaptive a lot of the time, it's in the case of situational leadership. And this has been a proven framework for healthcare leaders and healthcare entrepreneurs and healthcare administrators to be able to get the best value depending on the situation from their teams. Today we are going to be diving deeper into situational leadership, what you need to know about it, and how you can apply it practically in your healthcare business, because this is going to go a long way to help you effectively manage your team and be able to anticipate all the different things that may come up afterwards. So now when we look at situational leadership, now this was developed by two individuals, by Paul Hesse and then Ken Blanchard. They developed a model that has 4 quadrants, and then this is the theoretical side of things, but we'll look at the practical that helps you and guides you through the process. I'm going to walk you through those 4, and then we're going to look at how or when to apply these, when to think about these different quadrants, and how under what situations, how do you adapt depending on what is happening. The first quadrant is directing, which is just giving clear, specific, structured instructions. I need you to prescribe this amount of this drug to this person for this number of days, and give a start dose of this right now. This is directive, straight to the point. Coaching is you guiding and mentoring people to build their skills and their confidence, right? So that's the second quadrant, is coaching. So we have delegating, we have coaching. The third quadrant is supporting, and that's you have a lot of people who are competent, they just don't have the confidence. So they're competent, but they're not confident enough to lead their teams or make decisions. And then you look at delegating. Now when you're delegating, you are almost trusting the experts to take ownership and drive innovation. So you're just going to monitor progress. You're not going to be part of that progress. This is what it means. So when we look at this generally, what this is telling us is that we would have to use different leadership skills or different skill sets based on the situations that we have. So when we talk about directing, for instance, if you have a crisis, let's say you work in the ER or you run an ER company, and there's a shortage, you don't have enough ER doctors and the ER is busy. Now one of the things that will help you at that time is not to coach or support or delegate. At that point you're supposed to direct, because those are, and especially in crisis situations, you need to tell people clearly in a structured way what they need to do. Now when you use the other way you should be using this, and you could be using this, is in your new employees. So you have a new nurse who just started, or you have a new patient care coordinator, or a new billing person who just started. Your first approach, leadership approach to this person, should be a lot of directing, because they need to know and have clear, structured plans on what they need to do, where they need to find what they need to do, how they need to do it, and the outcome of it, and making sure that they have a well-structured, clear instruction on what needs to be done. Now, when you use this for a while, it gets to a point when the team member, let's say we are using this for a team member, the team member gains some experience and they are able to now do a lot of the things, but they still need help. But you want to make sure that you are not telling them exactly what to do. You are beginning to move them into a second quadrant, which is the coaching. Now in this place you are going to be asking guiding questions. What this means is that if there's someone comes to you and says, hey, this patient is or there's a situation in this practice, or yesterday this happened, what do I do? Instead of telling them I need you to do A, B, C, D, E, you ask them questions. You ask them what factors they will consider to make a specific decision. You are coaching them, you are helping them think. So the principle here is ask, don't tell. You are not telling them like you're doing in directing. You are asking them leading questions to help them formulate and think about the solution themselves. So that's the coaching bit. But this is for employees who have gained some experience, or in situations where you don't have the crisis or the emergency to it, that you can actually help guide this person to think through the process and help go through it themselves. The third quadrant is support, which is for employees who are very competent but lack the confidence to be able to make decisions. So in this case, you are going to put them in a situation where you encourage autonomy, but you're going to provide this, and then by you're providing a safety net. So you're helping them make those decisions, giving them that confidence to make those decisions, but you're going to provide a safety net with some reassurance, some autonomy with reassurance, and helping them grow without just micromanaging the process. And the last bit of this is delegating, which is the final stage, and it's about stepping back and allowing people to do what they need to do. You're telling them what they do, you trust, you're not supporting them, they are confident of making decisions, they can move forward with it. So you're not telling them what to do, you're not supporting them by coaching them or anything. You are literally telling them to do something, and all you do is sit back and help them to and monitor progress and monitor how things are going, with a plan of stepping in and helping out if need be. So the part of this that you need to look at is that how do you what mistakes should you avoid generally? Like when you are using some of these quadrants, what should you avoid? Now, you could be over-directing a very experienced leader or experienced team member, which would lead to a lot of frustration and disengagement, because they don't want to be directed. They want you to probably coach them or just delegate, right? But you are overly directing them, so it frustrates them. When you under-coach new hires, it could result in very costly mistakes and lack of growth. So you need to know exactly when to adapt what kind of leadership skills, when to move from one quadrant into another, if you need to be. And when you fail to adapt, again, leadership is not one size fits all. So don't think that every time I have to be transactional, every time I have to give directions, every time I have to be coaching. You have to be able to make a business decision based on what's available to you. So this is something that you need to pay attention to, avoid these common mistakes. But adaptation or situational leadership in healthcare is very important. You need to know how and when it plays out, and use the right tool for the right person at the right time. You get the right results, you avoid costly mistakes, and you'll be in a very good place. So this has been another episode of the Think Clinical podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a beautiful day.